Jerry, the way the season's gone, obviously it's been a disappointing season. Can this be a signature victory for you guys if you could beat Butler?
Obviously, anytime you're playing that, Butler / 15th ranked team in the country, it's a fun night. Pressure's on them. We're obviously in our own building, and we're excited about the opportunity to play them.
They have so many weapons, Mack, Hayward, and the list goes on and on. How do you contain them? I know you can't stop them, but do you contain them? What do you?
You have to play fundamentally solid. You have to play great team defense. Howard, I think, is their key right now over the last 5 or 6 games. He's really come on in terms of being a low post presence that kind of sets the tone for them. But the key is that you've got to make shots to stay in it. They're obviously a team with the talent that they have. You've got to be able to make shots to be able to be competitive with it.
When you talk about your defense, certainly the guys always give a good effort, but what do you think has been the struggle defensively in terms of 90 points? I know it was in overtime, but what do you attribute to that?
We're not getting stops when we need to get stops. I think defensively, like offensively, we get to crucial parts in the shot clock, and we either don't finish it, or we don't get a loose ball, or we don't get a missed rebound, or we don't pressure a shot. It's you've got to be able to play fundamental basketball, and at times we are really solid, and then at times, we're bad. And I think that's probably been the most disappointing thing for me is that in any given game you can see how good you are, and then in that exact same game you can see how bad you are, and that's been disappointing.
Coach, at times you've also said some of the teams towards the top of the conference, you've said this is where we're trying to get to. What about Butler's program allows them to have, the consistency that they've had being near the top?
Having players. They just, for their history, they're in a great locale. They've had a great tradition, and, coaches have come and gone in that program. When you look at, from Licklider to Stevens to Mata to Collar, all those guys, they've been able to get good players and have good coaches, but they've gotten good players, which has made them consistently good.
Jerry, why is this a fun game?
Well, anytime that you get a top team in the country coming into your building, it's a fun night. There's going to be a large crowd. It's exciting to be able to participate in an opportunity to compete and beat a team that's ranked.
With 2 more losses, do you feel like the guys' mindset, I know you don't get into this side of it too much, but do you feel like their mindset is where it needs to be, continuing?
Yeah, we're still competing and still playing hard. Again, the disappointing thing and the positive thing is in the same set of performances. You had a chance to win 2 games, and you played well enough to, and you also played well enough to lose it. So in this league, it's about 4 or 5 missed possessions and or 4 or 5 good possessions. And all of a sudden your year looks a lot different.
Jerry, is this league becoming more physical, or it is physical, but is it maybe more physical than in past years?
I think that it is. I think it's been a very physical year in our league. It's been somewhat disappointing from my perspective of it, but we've had kind of more incidences this year, and it's because of a year-long frustration that it's so physical, and it is what it is. There have been some incredibly physical games this year.
Coach, you mentioned that all the pressure's on them. How do you make sure that your team plays loose and they don't focus on national numbers and just focus on the game?
Again, those are, that kind of, mind games that I really don't deal with all that much. If you're a basketball player, you got to be excited to play in this game. You got to be, if you're not emotionally, mentally, athletically ready to play in a game like this. My concern is keeping our focus up so that at the Valpo game we're ready to play there, because too much of attention can go into one game. So our guys will be ready.
I know you don't look toward the future, but obviously this is a very long stretch for you. You got a game Thursday, a game Saturday, a game Monday, and you're flying, and then you got the other game.
You always seem like to bring that up in the last 2 days.
I mean, I know you take one game at a time, Jerry, but how critical is this?
It's a tough stretch that you're in. I mean, you're obviously playing Thursday, you're playing Saturday, you fly out on Sunday to play Milwaukee at Milwaukee on Monday, and come back on Tuesday and leave on Thursday for the West Coast. So, it is what it is. You're complaining about it or worrying about it, it's not changing anything. You got to strap up and play.
I know you don't change things a lot, but what adjustments do you have to make against the Butler team that maybe from game one that you didn't do well?
Well, we got to do everything different from game one. I mean, we played horribly there, and in fact, over the last 2 years before this last game, we played them pretty well, and we've got to be much more patient on the offensive end. They feed off of teams that are out of control and trying to dribble drive. And defensively, we have to play team defense. They have too many weapons for you just to focus on one guy.